In this jungle guide, I want to address some things that I have never addressed before on this channel. While we have a lot of different concepts about how to jungle, why to jungle, when to jungle, sometimes you need a different framework in order to apply all of this to your game for the most success. A jungle theory and mental approach that will help you reach new levels of destruction. Essentially, 5 ways for you to be the alpha jungler every single game. So if you're struggling to sort of keep all of these principles that you've learned over the past couple of months or whenever you've been watching my channel and apply them to your games, I'm going to give you a framework that will allow you to take them piece by piece and apply them to every single situation in League, in jungle, and in life. But first, Ross has a message.
Do you remember my battle with AP Kindred? Ross remembers. Definitely not a smart prediction to go with AP Kindred on that one. But with spring playoffs ongoing and MSI around the corner, Ross wants to present a sports and esports prediction game where you stake tokens but never lose. That's right, EarnU provides the only product that allows you to engage in all the dopamine with none of the risk. Only victory. Those of you who correctly predict the outcomes of weekly rounds of esports and sports matches will earn crypto rewards for free. If you don't predict correctly, your tokens are refunded immediately. Only Kane would be against it. Play for free each week by depositing BetU tokens into your EarnU wallet. You can also deposit other crypto and convert it to BetU tokens. A new round begins and ends every Tuesday, but you can enter in at any point. Simply sign up on the EarnU platform and join a round to play after depositing your tokens. A percentage of your BetU tokens will be converted into points that you can use to make predictions for each round. And again, you can never lose your tokens. Whatever points you win in a round are paid out to you in BetU tokens each week. Use code Virkayu on the link below that will give you 200 free BetU coins when you commit 200. Predict and win for free with EarnU.
Junglers, while we are more evolved, while we are more sophisticated, we do need to take that final step in evolution to be able to withstand the verbal barrage from our teammates, as well as all sorts of other abuses across the map. While all other roles would most likely die like the dinosaurs did, and you know what, if they wanted to survive that asteroid, just be built different, like us, junglers will always endure through the tough times and thrive during the great times. So originally, this was the third thing, but I'm going to start with it because I think it's so important, and it is my favorite one in the video, and that is simply, don't give a fuck. And I would don't curse a lot on this channel, I do personally, but not really on the channel, but here I just had to say it. When you don't care or react to absolute bullshit, people get scared. When they realize they have no control over your emotions, they lose power. And you know, this doesn't mean don't care about the results, although I do kind of mean that. Just play to improve, play to learn, but obviously winning in itself, learning how to win, that's a skill as well. You know, you need to learn how to do that, so you're always trying to improve while still winning at the same time. Now, what I mean is simply put, ignore the enemy jungler, ignore the enemy team, ignore your laners. Now, obviously, the best thing for you will simply be mute the chat, mute everything, and ignore them, which is obviously the best way to do it as well, because basically from their perspective, it looks like you're just ignoring them. They think, well, this guy's insane, we're insulting him, and he doesn't even respond. But if they can say those things, talk out loud, and you cannot be triggered by it. You cannot care about what they're saying. You simply enact your game plan. You know what you need to do, and you do it. It's really a powerful message to send to your team as well as to yourself. Do not take the bait from anyone on your team or the enemy team when they say something, and if they do and it's not constructive, simply mute them and deny them. Say nothing because they are nothing. They do not deserve your response, and this is something you really have to drive home as a jungler. If you do not enhance and embody this attitude in your solo queue games, you're not going to find success. You're going to react, your strategy is going to become unhinged, the enemy jungler is going to maintain control, and you're going to lose that foundational principle that was allowing you to carry in the first place. Most junglers who end up sending that jungle gap message in solo queue that you have against you, those smurfs, they don't really say anything. They're just playing like absolute terminators, like absolute robots, and nothing's going to stop them. Nothing's going to deter them, and they don't care what anyone really says about how they're playing the game because they know they're doing the correct thing. And obviously my whole channel is about how to do the correct thing, quizzes and guides and tutorials and champion tips and tricks. Everything in the last few weeks I think has been quite interesting in terms of taking your jungling to the next level, but if you absolutely care about what people are saying while you're doing it, then you're not exactly going to be able to enact it. And now typically someone would say something like, for this first bit, you know, go work out, be healthy, you know, make your bed in the morning, dress for success, or some such platitude. No, what I'm going to tell you here is you need to have intimidation, and you know what intimidates enemy junglers and every other player on the map? It's refinement of your craft. So yes, what that means is you're practicing your combos of your champion pool every single day. 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, whenever you're not in the mood for solo queue, you're practicing your combos. You're making sure your champion is executed to perfection. You're also making sure that your clears are pristine. There's no point having the fastest car on the grid if you drive it like a dodo. No one's intimidated by that. Think about it. Why do you all laugh when you face a Karthus in your elo? Because you know his clear is going to be bad, you know he's going to miss every single Q, and you can destroy him. But what if you were that Karthus that took your friend in a 1v1 and just practiced Qs all day? What if you were the Karthus that practiced 100 to 200 clears before you even went into solo queue, and all of a sudden they're wasting their time on suboptimal strategies, and now they are afraid of you because you clear efficiently scary and like a menace. They're kind of panicking about how they're going to play this game with your experience scaling, and of course you're hitting every single Q. So while it's a simple tip, when you want to intimidate an enemy jungler within the first 3 levels, make sure your clear is perfect, make sure your mechanics are perfect. And this is only achieved by using Kobe Bryant Mamba mentality of being in the gym at 5 AM, getting up shots. Substitute whatever idol you have, whether it's Messi or Ronaldo, and I'm saying that intentionally so I don't start a war in the comment section, but you know when you see them, they've already put in the work. So for jungle, the work, while it might just be playing the game, is all done beforehand. And fortunately with our position, we can get greatly rewarded with good study, good fast clears, and understanding the mechanical limitations of our particular choice. Now for the third thing, you're all saying, well, wait a second, you said that was intimidation, you just told me how to get there, but how do I actually use those tools to intimidate the enemy team and jungler? No, I'm glad you asked that. That's a great question. Simply put, mean it. Are you that bird in the Amazonian rainforest that puffs his feathers, but if a tiger were to run at him, he would just, explode in a colorful rainbow of death? Or are you going to do what you said you were going to do? Are you going to accomplish your goals, your game plan? People and laners and junglers will pay attention if you basically say to yourself, right, this game, 3 camp invade, I'm taking him out, I'm ganking top lane after, I'm double scuttling, ganking all 3 lanes in the process, I'm warding his second grump, and then you go and do it. Way too many times in coaching and looking at streams and VODs and so on, you can see people have an idea of what their game plan is, what their goals in the game are, and they simply don't do it because they don't have the intimidation factor from the first point because they didn't already put in the work. If my goal is to take a full clear plus 2 extra camps, get a skull, and get 3 ganks off, I'm going to do my best to do it. I'm going to adapt and overcome whatever situation arises, use my full jungle knowledge to make sure it can happen. And obviously the best thing about jungling is if it isn't possible, you can simply delay those plans and adapt them. You don't eradicate them. And this is the same thing in life as well. When you have goals, when you know what you want to accomplish, you're not going to give up halfway. You're not going to basically announce it and then not do it. If you announce it, you better do it. To be the alpha jungler every game is to be able to enact your game plan with success, and to do so while removing the enemy jungler from their ability to do theirs. Right, the fourth thing is very time is, in order of 46, very important. And look, I'm not coming down on you, it's frustrating, things can happen, and yeah, we need to complain, but too many people complain. You need to create essentially a solution from a bad situation that's gonna give you some payoff down the road. You need to see it through, and then basically you can laugh at anyone who complained or said it wasn't possible. And you should know exactly what I mean here by create solutions with this kind of framework. When you're a jungler and we talk about, being intimidating by having these great fundamentals and meaning our game plan and actually trying to see it through, as I said in that section, sometimes things simply won't go right. Sometimes the enemy jungler will also want to be the Alpha Sigma jungler on the enemy team, and your laners haven't seen this video and are weak or just unevolved and will cave and give him power that he doesn't deserve. You will now have to adapt. You will have to create a solution that allows you to still mean your game plan and succeed with it, and also maintain control over the game. A lot of my videos always deal with this. If A happens, then you can B. But if B is not possible, then maybe we can C or even D. There's a lot of different options you can have as a jungler to make something work, simply based around timings, matchups, lane states, how fed you are, how fed they are. Is it a ganking game, a farming game? Are you farming jungler, ganking jungler, both? But the one thing I want you to always say out loud whenever a rough game happens, create solutions. When things look rough, when things are going badly, when laners are inting, when you may be having a bad game for whatever reason, how can I make the best of the situation? How can I actually now get a lead? And too many times people simply tilt off the face of the earth. Way too many times a lot of junglers and players see some sort of adversity in the game and just want to check out. And that is a huge problem in League, but most people haven't realized that that's a huge problem in life. Yeah, there's a little bit of luck in creators and certain, personalities making it as big as they do, but they also worked really hard to get there. Any challenger or high elo jungle that you know went through these kinds of things. They had rough games, they had losing game states, they simply lost because they played badly. But they don't go to Discords and on Twitter and complain about their games. They simply try and create solutions, and if that solution isn't possible in that game, they will VOD review it, figure it out, and the next time it happens, they will have control of the situation again. And really, if there's two things I can tell you, it's the first point and this point that will really change your mental mindset. If you can drive these points home to yourself, these will be the biggest game changes for your climb. Because it's got nothing to do with theory. That's all on YouTube. You can watch my whole channel and get every kind of tip you want. But if you're not going to be the person that's going to actually apply them to your game by creating the solutions when the problems arise, then there was no point learning them in the first place. Stop complaining, stop blaming Riot when things don't go your way, find a solution to the problem, whatever it might be, and become the alpha jungler every game. And now finally, we need to talk about control your actions and reactions. Some things we simply can't control, like feeding laner. Some things we can't control, like, an enemy jungler doing a random clear and getting our prio on the bottom side. What we can, though, is control our reaction to it. So, if the bottom lane is Giga losing and the enemy jungler is there, why don't we simply do some counter jungling? If the enemy jungler decides, I want to focus Herald this game, and you simply cannot get it, well, I'll take a dragon, I'll take your bottom side, and I will dive your bottom lane. You've heard me say it before, equal and opposite, and you've heard me say it before, outside in gameplay, and I made that last week, and I will leave it in the description below so you can go and have a look exactly what that means. And really, this is the core essence of jungling, controlling your actions and reactions. If the bottom crab that you wanted to get after full clear is now no longer possible, why are you dying on it? It is 80% reduced experience. Create the solution in your mind. What can you do about it? You cannot control that their whole team is coalescing on this point. What you can do is control how you will adapt to this and make the best of the strategy. If you have no lane prior and you run it down and die and say, well, GG, lane is not playing for jungle, you sound like an ape. You control that action. Just because your laners didn't rotate doesn't mean you had to die for it. You are giving junglers bad names and you are making us look like memers who will suffer for crab only. And in this Shyvana video I covered a few weeks ago, that was the biggest thing. Hey, I don't have crab top stuff. I'm gonna reset and look for a solution about how I can still take over this game. And guess what? He did. When they take a Herald and dive top lane, are you simply doing your Krugs and Raptors? Why are you doing that? Can you gank bot lane? Can we gank mid lane? Can we counter jungle? Can we do a dragon? Control how you react to things that you have no control over in the game, like your lane is ending, and you can carry to a large degree. And you might not always like that the enemy jungler gets fed in this regard, but you can always control how you react to it and how you use your knowledge, your fundamentals, your intimidation factor, and everything else we talked about in this video to see a path through the maze that will take us to victory. And if you don't see it this game, hit the VOD review, figure it out, and use it in the next game. And that's how you will evolve to be built different and also to be the alpha jungler every single game. Hopefully you enjoyed this video of a few more mental tips, but also something to refocus and apply all the principles that you have at your disposal on this channel, as well as many other great channels on YouTube and across Twitch and the whole League of Legends educational ecosystem. However, really, none of this matters if you don't do the one thing that we're really meant to be here for in terms of League of Legends gameplay. To find out what that is, click the link in the top right.